The AFC West is just a throwdown, all-out brawl right now, and that was on full display on Sunday in Week 12. Denver Broncos took out the Los Angeles Chargers 28-13, suffocating defense from the Broncos, and it had two picks from the rookie first-round pick, Patrick Surtain, and took one in the house off Just Herbert. To talk about it, our guy from Locked On Broncos he's talking about today on Locked On Broncos, the Monday edition, Cody Roark. What's going on, Cody?
Hey, Bo, great to see you as always, my friend. Hey, Victory Monday is always great. I know Broncos fans are excited. A good win on Sunday for them. And look, they did it against a pretty good football team with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, first forcing some turnovers in this contest. And what was maybe their main key to success in slowing down Justin Herbert, who was fantastic last week?
You know, a lot of it, the Broncos dropped a lot of zone coverage in this game. Now, the last couple of weeks, they've been playing a lot of man-to-man coverage, and it hasn't hurt them in any way, shape, or form. But they were down Kareem Jackson in this game. He didn't play due to a neck injury. So you had a rookie, Caden Stearns, filling in on the back end of the secondary alongside Justin Simmons. And then you had Ronald Darby, Patrick Surtain, and then obviously you had Kyle Fuller inside the nickel there for the Broncos there. They just did a lot of spot dropping, some underneath zone coverage concepts, some man and some one-on-one situations. But they just really focused on a four-man pressure against Justin Herbert, which you have to try to send four. You can't send too many guys because that's where Eckler can get you out of the backfield. The Broncos came into this game really trying to game plan. They believe that they could lock up on the outside, that they could limit the opportunities of explosive plays downfield with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, but their focus was to try to slow down Austin Eckler, who's a threat, obviously, as a rusher and out of the backfield as receiver, and that's really kind of where they focus their efforts here in this game.
You see the offense, it's almost like don't lose the game for the defense. Do you get that sense? I mean, is that
Yeah, I mean,
simple?
that's how it felt. You know, for example, this is a game where the Broncos came out, their defense, they were on fire, and they forced the Chargers to go 3-and-out on the first two possessions. And then the offense, you know, they had a 14-0 lead. And then Drew Lock, right before halftime, makes a critical mistake, throws an interception to Derwin James that leads to a touchdown. Obviously, coming up on, a few plays afterwards by the Chargers that made it a 14-7 game and a half. Teddy was hobbled a little bit, had a shin injury. He came back in the second half. But the key for them was really trying to figure that out. How can the offense help the defense out? And in that third quarter, it was getting a little dicey there, Bo. I'm not going to lie to you. The Broncos defense, they were on the field for a while. The offense only had one possession in the third quarter, -8 yards. That's not good. And so obviously that's where frustration can creep in if you're a defensive player. But man, in that fourth quarter, the Broncos defense stepped up. The offense stepped up with the rushing game, and that's what led to the victory.
Is that where they can kind of, if they really want to contend, that rushing attack? And Javonte Williams, a good game on the ground. Melvin Gordon was effective, close to 5 yards per carry. And even Teddy Bridgewater found pay dirt in the end zone for a rushing score. Can they just be a ground and pound defensive unit?
They need to be. That needs to be their offensive identity. Now, look, here's the deal. The Broncos this past week, they signed Courtland Sutton, Tim Patrick to mega deals, obviously well-deserved by those guys. They need to throw the ball downfield, don't get me wrong, but the identity of this offense needs to be to run the football with Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams. They're a dynamic 1-2 punch, and when they both get double-digit carries, 10 carries each or more, the Broncos, they win games. They haven't lost when those guys get that. So it's a formula. And, Bo, I will point this out too. What was more impressive about this victory, the Broncos, they were down Garrett Bowles at left tackle. He was out due to COVID. They lost left guard Dalton Risner to a back injury in the first quarter there. Lloyd Cushenberry was fine. And then they, at right guard, they lost Graham Glasgow a couple of weeks ago to a season-ending injury against the Cowboys. And then they lost their fill-in left tackle for Garrett Bowles, Calvin Anderson, who was carted off in this game. And then at right tackle, they're down Bobby Massey. So they were really in there with a makeshift offensive line. And those guys stepped up to help get the run game going. So that was very impressive about this victory. But they need to run the ball, Bo, absolutely.
Yeah, and it can certainly help next week. The road doesn't get any easier for the Broncos in the AFC West. Big Sunday night football showdown with the Kansas City Chiefs. Can't wait to hear you break down and preview this game on Locked On Broncos. Check it out on a daily basis with Cody Roark. Thanks, Cody.
Appreciate you, Bo.